guys, it's Thya Sanders from Naya Beauty App, founder, and what do you want me to say? I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm sorry.
Do you know what? Because our brain cells have gone now. We need a little nap.
Be sure to like, oh shit, what?
Yeah, go and get a glass of wine.
Okay, I always forget this and I always mess it up. Okay.
Do you know what? So do I. Can I tell you, all the TV presenting I do, the intro and outro, I always stuff up.
Let's go old school. Call me and write me a letter. Thank you guys for Thank you guys for this.
You know what to do. Bye. See you at the next mega Unfiltered.
You guys know social media. Do what you gotta do. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. I can't.
See, this is what middle age looks like.
I'm gonna hide your face on the screen.
Okay, do you know what? I'm just gonna put my camera off.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna turn the goddamn the microphone off now.
Guys, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me on Naya Unfiltered with this wonderful guest of mine, Kim Wyatt. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. I don't know what the fuck. That's a wrap. Okay, Kim, you can show your face now.
Hey, 575. It's not just me.
Hi guys, this is Thya Sanders, CEO and founder of Naya Beauty. I'm here on Naya Unfiltered with Kim Wyatt. You know, this glamorous woman.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all glamorous. Don't believe everything you see on social media. I'm just a working mum with 2 boys and just trying to get through each day, especially during the pandemic. But I want to take my hat off to you for really, pushing this whole platform for inclusive beauty. I absolutely love it. And what I really love is an app for women, to personalize their beauty, because I tell you, I've got some horror stories about my experience in the past with getting makeup done at beauty counters and things like that. So
even
I'm really
like yourself was access to makeup artists, and as an everyday woman, you've experienced this also, right? The frustrations.
Yeah, I work in TV and I have a makeup artist to do that for me, thank goodness, because I don't have a clue on how to do makeup. And I find it very stressful because I've got to look a certain way and I've got to look my best, because there is pressure there to, because you're creating an image, and I totally get that. But if I have to do it for myself, I struggle. And today, this is my one look.
What
I have
beautiful. No, okay.
Yeah, but this is day and evening. I don't do anything else because I don't know how to do it. And I think, this is the issue. It's very hard. I love skincare. I can talk about skincare, no worries. When it comes to makeup, I'm not as confident. I love makeup artists, what they do. I think they're artists and they're super creative, but it doesn't always fit the person, especially when you're looking at social media.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't translate sometimes. If I'm looking at an influencer and I'm seeing their techniques, it doesn't always work for me because I don't have the right eye shape or the right eye color or the skin color or the techniques. And I end up looking like a hot mess.
I love what you're saying because, I was customer zero with Naya in the sense that, I had one look, the signature look, right? It was day, night, special occasion, whatever it was. I never wore eyeshadow because I didn't know how to put it on, right? And whenever I went to a makeup counter, it was always, I ended up like buying a bunch of stuff, didn't know how to use it. I looked fabulous after I left, right? But didn't know how to recreate it. And so that's why it's like, gosh, I wish that there was somewhere I could go, and it wasn't really time consuming, but it was really tailored to me. And I think what you're saying really resonates, because as a mature woman, you know when things either work or don't work for you. But I think as a younger woman, you are willing to take risks and try things out. And when looking at social media, it may seem like the look is universal, but when I'm looking at that look, I know it's not going to work for me, just because I know my facial structure, my bone structure, it's not going to work. So I can't, imitate or do or replicate what they're doing. And I wanted something that was customized to me, and I couldn't find something that was really easy access and kind of private, because it can be quite intrusive when you're doing it at a retail counter. And that's why I created Thya. But it's great, and it's validating to hear from you that, yeah, this is a need, there is a problem, and hopefully Thya can, help with that problem, help to solve it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, in the past, I've always wanted to go back into one of the beauty counters and get a makeover, and I've done that, but I've come out thinking, the makeup doesn't suit me. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But, it's also factoring in price. You want something that's going to work. You want products that you can use again, not just for that one instance. Right. So, I've been scared off going into makeup counters because the makeup artist doesn't always get my look and get my lifestyle and get my bone structure. Sometimes they're just there to sell, which I totally get. But, I've been in instances where I've come away and the makeup, I can see the foundation is not my color, the lip color is wrong, and it stops me from experimenting. And, I'm really interested in trends. I want to know, even as an older woman, I want to keep up to date. I want to look fresh. Right. Aging isn't about looking, acting your age or being stereotyped, and I think there's a huge niche for older women now to experiment more, because, I think younger women can teach older women a lot and vice versa.
I agree.
And, I think something like this app, which, for me, I would feel more comfortable using something like this than going into a retail store, because it's in the privacy of my own home also. And I can make mistakes if I want. I'm not there sitting in front of everyone.
Right. Right. And digital, and people are looking at you. And if you think about it, you have to start with the fresh canvas, right? If you're going to apply makeup and execute a look, that means taking off all of your cover up, all of your concealer, your foundation, your brows, your mascara. And so now you're completely vulnerable, right?
Yeah, that's super interesting you say that, actually. That's super interesting because, you do feel vulnerable. And I feel very vulnerable on social media when I don't have makeup on, and I very rarely show it. So when I have a makeup artist who can create a look for me, when I'm working, for instance, I do feel more confident.
Right.
I absolutely feel more confident. And this is the thing about makeup. It's not just about beauty. It's about transformation, and it's about empowering women. And I see that now. I never used to when I was younger. I saw it as something different. Now I see makeup and beauty as something very different to when I was younger.
Yeah. And I think as we age, also, you're talking about skincare, right? And it's really, skincare isn't just about topical, right? It's about like what you ingest, what your lifestyle is. So you're improving the quality of your life, and that kind of shines through. So it's a transformation of not just your makeup, but your skin and your lifestyle, right? As you get older.
I think for sure. I think it's holistic.
Yeah.
I think it's very holistic. And I think as we get older, we realize that when I was younger, I certainly, I was always into health and fitness. Well, not so much fitness because I don't do much exercise. I never did. But, I was very in awe of people who were fit and did the fitness, but I was more into eating healthily and that kind of thing, and really looking after my skin, keeping out of the sun, getting.
That's great.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. I started using eye oil when I was 12.
Okay, I started using eye cream when I was 13. So, all right. Right there.
And was that because of your culture? Is that because of your, because I know.
My mom is Korean, and Koreans are so into beauty and skincare. So she got, of course it was the starter kit clinique. Back then there weren't a lot of, I don't know, probably that back then, but there wasn't a lot of really good products that you could buy at the drugstore, and especially for people of color, so it was going to Macy's, where we lived, going to Macy's and buying Clinique and she would get me, the eye cream, the neck cream, what do you get, neck cream for a 13-year-old? The neck cream, eye cream, moisturizer, and of course SPF, and then maybe some, a little bit of makeup. But I didn't have the luxury of going to a drugstore just because of my skin tone, but she started me off early because, Koreans and Asians are so obsessed with skincare.
Absolutely. And I lived in Vietnam for 4 years. And I became very aware of the obsession with skincare over there. And, I've been lucky in life because I have lived in different countries. I've been an expat for quite a few years, and I've lived in the Bahamas, I've lived in Vietnam, and now the Middle East, and I've traveled a lot. And it's been quite interesting to see how different cultures view skincare and view beauty. And for sure in Asia, women were certainly in Vietnam, always conscious of the sun. Like, don't get a suntan, you cover up. And when I was living there 10 years ago, everyone used to wear face masks.
Really?
When they were riding their motorbikes because of the pollution, but, also very conscious about the sun. They didn't want to get a tan. Where I grew up in Australia, in Sydney, the big thing when I was growing up, you got to get a tan.
Australian gold.
Yeah, absolutely. We used to, when I think about it now, what we did to our skin is a nightmare. We used to put on the baby oil. I don't know if in America they did this.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they did.
Like the aluminum foil to get that.
Oh, yeah.
Maximize the sun rays. I mean, of course, I was lucky enough to my skin tone. I didn't have to get a tan, I had that natural tan, but I saw my friends, and my one friend, she's a redhead, and she would just burn like that, but she refused to get out of the sun. It's like she continued to go to the sun because she wanted to achieve that tan. Now she's going to, her dermatologist, her doctors, to see okay, what treatments can I do to reverse what I did back then? Yeah, but what's great now is that the younger generation, they are obsessed with SPF, just obsessed with sunscreen. So that's good that they're protecting their skin, because as you know, you can't reverse time, but you can kind of stop it, right? And make it go a little bit slower, but you can't reverse the damage that you did.
Exactly. I mean, also, tanning is the worst thing you can do for your skin. It accelerates aging pretty much more than anything else. But when I was growing up in Australia, that no one knew that. We didn't know that. We thought it was a sign of beauty to have a tan. So we all got tans. And I remember my mum always saying to me when I was growing up, she used to say, tanning is the worst thing you can do. Look around you at all the older women who have tanned. They've got the worst skin. And I was like, okay, I'll stop frying with my baby oil. We used to put baby oil on us. And I still say it now when I see people tanning out on the beach, I just get an image of a roasting chicken.
Right. Just sizzling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And for years now, I've been, I don't go in the sun. I wear sunscreen all the time. But in those days, it was a different thing. So it's very interesting to see how the concepts of beauty have changed over the years. And for you, coming from your family Korean, it was always a big thing to look after your skin. So they were very ahead of their time, in fact.
Right. Right. You've had the opportunity to travel the world and see different cultures, and how they approach skincare and makeup and beauty. And you also have the experience, by your age and talking about what you've learned. So are there things that you have incorporated by looking at different cultures of, and what you've learned in your past that you're like, this is a staple, or this, I see that this culture does, but that really doesn't work for me? Like, what have you learned that you've incorporated into your life now that still that lasts today?
Well, I think doing a lot of traveling and also living in different parts of the world has shown me one thing is for sure: beauty is universal. And when I was growing up, also beauty was very much stereotypes. There was a stereotype for women and the idea of beauty. And when I was growing up, as I said, it's very much you had to look a certain way, or otherwise you weren't considered beautiful or gorgeous or whatever. And I grew up with all these stereotypes in my mind. What's really interesting is that I'm kind of like the black sheep of the family in a way, because the majority of my family are darker skinned. We have North African, my family have North African heritage. So they have dark olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes. So I was kind of like, I came along and I was like, oh, we got a blonde hair, blue eyed daughter here,
That's the DNA.
Yeah, exactly. But it was because of my Polish father. But, all my family, there's the North African influence there. But so ideals of beauty for me when I was growing up were very much mixed, because I had mainstream media telling me this is what a woman should look like.
Right.
Because everyone on TV and in media look the same.
Yeah.
And then I had this family who I thought were beautiful. They had darker skin, but the stereotype was you have to be blonde, blue-eyed and go surfing and look fit and whatever. So my ideal about beauty, skincare has really evolved. And, when I look at my family and when I look at women now, I'm so happy that it's evolved since, when I was growing up.
I feel the same way. It's just, I talk to my nieces and I'm just saying, like, you guys are, so my father is African American and my mom is Korean, and we have some Native American in there. And I look at my nieces, and one is, part Mexican and one is part Portuguese. And it's like, you guys are so lucky that the time that you're in, because the definition of beauty was so different when I was younger, right? It's exactly that. It was what you said. It was the blonde, blue-eyed, it was always a white person. And,
always.
And she had a flat booty and, and then of course there was a time that she had like, a flat chest or like a small chest. Right. And so I'm with you that I just marvel at how the definition of beauty has evolved, right? And how it's transformed. There's like a voluptuous woman is beautiful, right? Having curves, don't be ashamed of your curves. Don't be ashamed of like the texture of your hair, having natural curly hair, you don't have to flatten it, you don't have to straighten it. And I remember when I was like 14, I really wanted bangs. I mean, everyone had bangs, right?
Right.
Begged my mom to cut my hair and I had bangs. Now, if you can imagine, now I look at these girls with like curly hair and they've got cute bangs. But back then, maybe we had Paul Mitchell, maybe we had Dippity Doo. We didn't have a lot of great hair products. So if you can imagine this curly hair and bangs, and they were just kind of ringlets. And what I wanted was those straight bangs.
Yeah. And you tried really hard to straighten them, and you probably, I don't know, tape them down or sleep on them and all. Yeah. I mean, hair is also a very interesting topic too. When I lived in the Bahamas, I used to look at all these Bahamian women and these incredible sculptures of hair that they used to attach. And I remember speaking to one of my Bahamian friends and said, how do you sleep with that on your head? They said, we sleep like this and we don't move all night. And we've got, And I say, why do you do it? And they say, well, it's fashion, it's trend. But the irony is, when I was growing up, I really wanted a perm. I wanted curly hair.
Are you serious?
I wanted curly hair. I got the curly hair and it was horrific. And yeah, I always, because I looked at my family, I actually wanted to be darker. I wanted to be like, because I saw them, they were my role models. So I wanted dark hair. I wanted olive skin. I wanted dark eyes. So
did you dye your hair ever?
I had it. I'm considering it at the moment. I'm considering going dark. I mean, you can see my roots there because I haven't had a color for a while. I mean, that's seen as dark blonde, but hair is really interesting too. It's very much a sign of your identity also. And for women, it's especially important.
Let's talk about mature women and hair. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there has been an explosion of literature and media about mature women and hair loss. And, I don't think that, the younger generation understand, but like identity and beauty is really, and confidence is tied to hair. And so I'm seeing an explosion of writings on hair loss about, middle-aged women or mature women you hear about Rogaine and you always thought about men, but then there's Rogaine for women also. So yeah, I mean, the topic of hair is really interesting and it's starting to rise almost as much as skincare, I think. What do you think?
I think I have definitely seen an explosion of hair care products to treat hair loss. Especially in menopausal, perimenopausal, and menopausal and postmenopausal women. And I'm seeing lots of supplements now for hair care. In fact, I'm taking biotin now to help with. Are you? Oh, great. Okay. Well, there you go. So I'm taking that because and I think over the past year, because of the pandemic, we've all been leading these really super stressful lives, and stress doesn't help. And I've noticed significant hair loss over the past year, and so I've been taking supplements, but I have noticed an explosion now of hair care specifically for hair loss, for aging hair. So it's now become a big trend, and I think it's going to take off even more so. But yeah, I think it was very much always about men going bald, but now, the topic of aging for women, it's coming up also about our hair too.
Right.
And I think that's part of our whole thing of being, seen as beautiful, to have healthy, glorious hair, and that's a sign of youth also, for sure. And it's really, I think it's distressing when I speak to friends of mine about hair loss. They're distressed. It's not easy. So this is another aging thing that we need to work with and come to terms with, for sure.
You lightly touched upon social media at the beginning of our conversation, and it's really nice to see, social media can have devastating consequences, but then also it can open up doors to like having meaningful conversations. For instance, like Jada Pinkett Smith shaving off her hair and revealing that she has been suffering hair loss. Right.
Yeah, love Jada. Yeah.
And Ricky Lake. I love Ricky Lake.
Love Ricky Lake.
He, was suffering from hair loss, and then they're just shaving it all off and exposing it and having conversations. And even about menopause, having these conversations about, what the symptoms are and what you go through, and so. And
it's about time, isn't it?
Right?
It's about time, right? I mean.
Yeah, I didn't even know what she was going through because they didn't have conversations about menopause. When I asked her, like, when did you go through menopause? She's like, I have no idea. I don't think I went through it. And my brother's like, no, she did go through it. And this is what it was like, living through hell when she was going through it. But she's like, oh, that's what it was, because she didn't know, and they weren't having conversations. And they're, and now it's great. It's refreshing. You're seeing products on drugstores targeting women who are going through menopause to try to ease their symptoms, their night sweats, whatever, talking about hair loss. It's great.
Absolutely. It's taken a long time. And just jumping on the point about what you were saying about your mum, you know, I saw my mum go through really terrible menopause for it seemed like years that she went through it. But, you know, I mean, all the symptoms, the sweating, the mood swings, it was devastating for her, but she never got HRT for it, because in those days, HRT was very much linked to breast cancer, and that's all changing now, by the way. So, you know, it was devastating. But when I look at my grandmother, what my grandmother went through, you know, there was no such thing as menopause, really. And to think about that generation, or those generations of women who really lost the sense of themselves, because, you know, it's a huge physical and mental transition. But it's not the end, you know, is it? I mean, you know, older women have so much experience and passion to give to the world. It's not a dead stop.
And they don't lose their sexuality, you know. And I think there is this misconception, or there was a misconception, that, you know, a woman gets older, she matures, she loses her sexuality, she loses her sensuality. And then to find out that STDs are rampant in senior citizen communities, they're still having sex.
Yeah, and that exactly. And, you know, we always say, oh my God, we don't want to talk about older people, you know, doing that. But I'm seeing now on social media a lot about older women and sexuality. And there was actually a recent fashion shoot for one of the magazines. Anyway, it was about jewelry, and it was an older couple making out. And it was really, you know, I think it's coming up now, this whole dialogue about sexuality, aging, and how it's definitely changing, and beauty and skincare and hair. But like you were saying about social media, there are definitely great things about it, but there are also very negative things about it too, because it is providing a fantastic platform like dialogue, as you say, but with that comes a lot of criticism. And you get the trolls and the people who say, oh, you know, Madonna has been going through a bit of a bad bashing at the moment. You know, 62 years of age. She's got a very young lover. He's in his 20s. You know, she's getting her cosmetic surgery, whatever. Good luck to her. Do what you want. But like, whatever makes you happy. But I think there's a real stigma about women. Not so much for men, because it's always an older man can go out with a younger woman. That's socially acceptable. But for an older woman to go out with a younger man is really frowned upon. So as long as we're talking...
I see those double standards, but there's always been double standards, right?
Yes.
A woman can't have it all. A man can have it all. A man can date and have a younger wife, but a woman can't. And that's what I think it goes into that misconception, that women lose their sensuality and sexuality, that you reach a certain age and then you should just be sitting in the corner knitting, and that's all you're thinking about, and playing with your cats, you know. But you see,
I love knitting. I'm joking, I don't knit. But you know what, I totally get you.
Right? This is what they think you're gonna do.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting that you're talking about this whole thing about sexuality as women get older. And I think women are tied very much to their reproductive age.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And as we get older, we're seen, as soon as we can't have babies, we're done.
Yep.
That's it.
Put it back on the shelf. You're out. Right?
Right, absolutely.
And there's, you know, they say that I'm a nerd, but I love seeing movies where there are mature actors like out living their lives and being vital, you know, having that vitality, because that's true. That's what the truth is, right? It's not just sitting in an armchair and just watching TV. Now, of course, there's a segment of the population that are doing that, but you have also, which is great, tying it into social media, you have these older influencers. They're out there and they're fashionable They're not wearing just like frumpy sweaters with cats on them. No offense to cat lovers at all, because this is like my second reference to cats. But
yeah, we're not dissing cats, anyone.
No, don't troll us. I love cats. That you have these influencers on social media, and they're on point. Their hair, their makeup, their clothes. And it's, you have this thing, and I hate this term, age appropriate.
Oh, don't like that at all. But what you're saying about all these new influencers, the older generation, guess what? They're the ones with the most disposable income.
Okay, let's get to it.
Like, hello, where are all the advertisers out there, with this new niche market of older men and women who are really on point, really on trend. They're looking after themselves. I don't get it. Where's the marketing and the products suited to them? Because they are the ones who have the money behind them.
I don't understand it. Okay. It's like, look, you're in media, right? And you can see, as even on the other side as a consumer, you can see what they're marketing towards, the advertisers, right? It seems as though it's okay to market to like the men because they have the wealth and, if they're older, but it's always the younger demographic of women, and we're left out here like, hey, we've got the money. We're still curious. We're still on a journey and trying to improve ourselves. So like, market to us too, right? Don't market us to like retirement communities, like market to me about beauty, about skincare, about workouts, about clothes, about shoes, right? I don't want, listen, earmuffs, fuck sensible shoes, okay? I want to see some really hot fashion for me.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with you. It was so funny you saying this. The other night I was looking at a advertisement and it was this older couple. They had white hair. She had a curly little, hairstyle, and they're sitting there looking all frail. And it had something, your retirement over the age of 50. And I'm looking at these frail, old people, with their grey hair and their cardigans on. And I'm like, has anyone seen J-Lo?
Thank you. Okay.
Or Gwen Stefani?
Or Halle Berry?
Thank you, Halle Berry. Oprah?
Yes.
I mean, no, Tracy Ellis Ross is not over 50. She's in her 40s. But certainly, like, I don't get it. Change with the time, and also older consumers are loyal.
Yes.
Older consumers are very loyal. Younger consumers are very trend-based, and they flip from different products, and it's very hard to keep up with them for marketeers and whatever. But older generation, they're a bit more loyal, and they will put their money in quality products and quality services. So that all needs to change, for sure.
Will. And I think that there are so many wonderful indie brands that are out there, right? That are coming onto the scenes. That you have those more
disruptors,
and of course, like I want to venture out of my comfort zone and discover these new indie brands and these new products that are coming onto the scene. And it's yes, can I buy Chanel? And Chanel is a great line, and you have these wonderful lines out there. But like I said, you have these innovative products that are coming onto the market that, the younger buyers are being exposed to. But I would like to know, and it's not just about like anti-aging, it could be about moisturizing. It could be about any number of things that they have, these innovative products. And I'd like to be exposed to that too and learn about it. And it just seems to be, my demographic gets skipped over.
And, and this is such a shame. I don't know who's running these companies. I think maybe they're the demographic, they're aiming towards the younger generation. And I'm not discounting the younger generation at all, the millennials. But, it does seem like we're still being ignored, and when they're not harnessing the power of of, our demographic or this demographic over 40 even, or 35. I don't even know what middle-aged is anymore. I think the demographics have changed.
Right.
And I hate the term middle-aged because it still has that stigma of being someone who's past their use-by date.
Right.
And I think that needs to change a lot more. And there are, and you're talking about these companies, especially in skincare, with innovative products, innovation, and that's starting to happen. And they are the disruptors in the skincare world. And I know the big companies with the money are starting to look more towards these companies because they know that they've got a really good niche market.
Yeah.
And that's going to develop more for sure.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that, like you said, that the younger generation can learn from the older generation and vice versa. That, as the younger girls go out and they try certain things, I'll take a look at what, the girls are doing. And then what we do, or what I do, is I put my own twist on it, right? Because maybe it's not as bold. It's not that it's age appropriate, but it's appropriate for me. It's person appropriate, right? Person centric. So that, okay, I take a look at what that fashion is. Maybe I don't want to show my midriff, but what can I show, right?
And I think this is, yes,
twist on it.
Absolutely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. Before it used to, beauty and skincare fashion used to be very much inside a box. This is what you wore. You were targeted at one brand. You wore that one brand or you used that one brand. And now it's more personalized. People want personalization. They want something that's for their skin, for their look, and something that fits their lifestyle. And it's changing and evolving a lot, which is great to see because, as you say, it's something that one person's look is not going to fit my own look too, but I can use the best of that to adapt it and change it to how I want it to be. And that's the beauty
about this. We've seen something like that's mass produced and it's like maybe thrown out to the general public. Like one of the things I always say that I love Hawaii. And the reason why I love Hawaii is because the first time I went there, what I saw were products that were made for skin tones like myself. They were darker skin tones. And I couldn't get that, on the mainland. So let's think about, can you give me an example, what you see an adaptation of making a product more personalized? I like Fenty. Fenty has so many, they're getting a lot of attention because they have so many different shades of foundation.
Yeah, amazing. And by the way, Rihanna was just named a billionaire today partly because of Fenty. But before Rihanna was Iman, the supermodel. And she developed specifically for what you're saying, because she couldn't find a foundation that would match her skin type. So, and she did very well, but Rihanna has blown it out of the park, hasn't she? Right. Which is great to see. But even for me, I've found foundations really difficult too, and even some sun creams. Some creams come in one shade, and I am still mixing sun creams to get my shade for my skin. They come in either really light or really orange. Yep. And I'm like, okay, that's an idea for you. Take my idea and go and make some sunscreens that, are for different skin color.
Oh, yeah. I just saw, and I was like going to tell the girls, I want to go buy it. And it's not a plug, so I haven't tried, but it was like Black Girl Sunscreen. That's what the name of the company is called. Because whenever, they say that you're supposed to use zinc and there's certain, minerals and so, non-cancerous causing toxins that you want to put on your face. But whenever I do that, there's like that white cast, right?
And for me too. So I can only imagine for you what it's like.
It's awful. So, but this is a sunscreen for people of color. And I was so excited to hear about it that I'm going to go buy it out. I'm going to go out and buy it today. Have you heard of it? Yeah. So it's called Black Girl Sunscreen. That's crazy. That's awesome.
I know. And, it's fantastic to see, Tracy Ellis Ross also, and this is not a plug for her either, but I noticed that she started a range for her hair type. So,
yes, and I've tried it.
Oh, right. How was it?
It was great. The smell was wonderful. I tried one of the like leave-in conditioners and a spritz that will like, you know, rejuvenate your curls, like revive your curls. And it's just really super exciting to see this.
Yeah, and I tell you from my short experience with having a perm and trying to keep those curls under control, I mean, I was like, okay, this is another level of hair care. I was like, no, it was not
trying to look like. Who were you trying to look like when you got this perm? There has to be someone.
I tell you. Okay, I think at the time it was Mariah Carey when she had her, you know, her beautiful ringlets, and I was like, I'm gonna look like that, you know, I want to be Mariah, and that's the thing. Don't work against something, right?
Well,
work with what you've got.
There weren't a lot, you know, like, you know, who I could, you know, emulate, but I remember I scoured the mall trying to get the lip color of Janet Jackson in her video. You know, she, remember when she had that, like, you know, it was like this kind of like kind of like glistening kind of brown. I looked all over the place. I wanted to look like her.
I think I found that in Australia because I wore that. Not a good look. Not a good look. A copper brown on a white face with blue eyes and blonde hair. I'm telling you, I wish I had the photo. I think I found that. I'm trying to remember which.
Do you remember when Mac came out with Viva Glam? I think it was.
Oh,
Viva
yeah,
Glam.
Mac. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all made the mistake. Oh, dude. Oh, my goodness. All those days, you know, they were incredible. And look what we have now. We have an app such as yours that can help people such as us to personalize our look. Don't trust everything you see on social media. I need help. This is why your app is so good for me. I'm telling you now. I mean, you know, let's touch upon that point, right? When you see these celebrities in the world, they have an army of stylists.
Yes.
Hairdressers, makeup artists. They don't go home and they whip it up in the night, you know.
They have lighting. They have special equipment, right? They take thousands of photos to find that one good photo. I mean, let's just get real. You have to be real, but it's, you know, I just hear like even my nieces, they talk about like, oh, like the Instagram and you look like this. And she's like, oh, I just faked that. That wasn't real.
Really?
No, it's not real. And they're perpetuating this, you know, they're perpetuating what's going on behind the scenes. And they realize that, hey, I need to portray this. And even though I don't feel that way, and even though it's not real, but this is what I need to do because this is what attracts people, right? Everyone wants to be with the winner. No one wants to be vulnerable. And it just keeps on going. And I guess you just have to check yourself in the sense of that's not real. What is real?
But that is something that worries me a lot, actually, about social media, is that everyone starts to look the same. Mm-hmm. You know, there's certain celebrities that everyone wants to look that way. And then the people start to forget who they really are and utilize their own beauty and identity to become who they are. And yeah, I can see young girls falling down that trap big time. And also that in itself is a stereotype. You know, social media is great. As I said before, it's a fantastic platform to be able to break open conversations such as we're having today. And also to really amplify the issues that we're still facing, because I don't think the skincare, beauty industry, hair industry, you know, it's evolving, but it needs to evolve more.
Yes.
And for people of color, for older people, you know, for people of different body types, we've still got a long way to go, I think.
You know, for as many as there are proponents of inclusivity and, you know, plus size models or, you know, or voluptuous women, whatever it is, and people of color, you still have those trolls. And you still have those people who will, you know, attack those people who are trying to be vulnerable and bring issues to the forefront. And it's just, you know, I don't know how you combat that. It's just, you know, you can't spend your time dealing with one-on-one, because then you lose yourself, right? You just got to keep on going. And then I think that also brings us to mental health, that it's okay, you know that the trolls are out there. Don't get caught up on, what do? Do you open up the comment section, the section to hear comments that are like, there's positive comments, but then there are bad and mean comments too. And that can mess with somebody, right?
Oh yeah,
they're waiting.
Absolutely.
But you can't have a conversation unless you open it up. And I think with people, their mental health has to be strong, and they have to check themselves. And it's good to take a step back, because they need to be prepared that it's going to come, these bad comments.
And I think people on social media really need to make a very clear effort to say to themselves, I am going to be criticized, I am going to be trolled, but I cannot take it personally.
Right.
They've got to make it very clear, because social media can be horrific, especially for mental health. So people on, social media, influencers, celebrities, whoever, no one is going to agree with you 100%.
That's life.
That is life. And we don't agree with everyone either. This is life, but it becomes very personal very quickly on social media. And people feel more empowered when they're sitting behind a keyboard or a phone to say what's on their mind without putting in anything into context. And it's, if you've got someone who's low self-esteem or issues or vulnerable or depressed, these trolls can have a devastating impact. So the issue is, we do need to raise these issues and stories about inclusivity, about racism, about ageism. But I think also we need to be able to protect ourselves. So if you want to block people, block them. If you want to turn off the commenting section, turn it off. It's your platform. Right. You do what you want. You don't have to answer to anybody unless you're being outright nasty to them on your own social media platform. Right. That's how I've taken it now, after being, nearly 6 years on social media. I have a very clear idea of what is right and what is trolling. I don't do trolls anymore. That's it. I don't want people coming in. I want to create a safe space where people can discuss and have dialogue. I have zero tolerance now for trolls and anyone who's going to make other people feel unworthy.
Now let's take a look at your social media. You have your Instagram page, and what brought you to social media? Did you start because it was a function of your job, or was it because you wanted to share your story, with others? And I noticed there's a lot of food. You're a big foodie.
Yeah. Well, that's how I started. I became a food writer in Qatar. I've been living in Vietnam with my young family, my 2 young boys and my husband. We moved to Qatar, and I was really a full-time mom, and I decided I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted a creative outlet, because I'd really thrown everything into being a mother. And I thought, I had worked in publishing and media in Sydney and London and the Bahamas anyway, and kind of took a break. And then I thought, right, now's the time to do it. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to start doing it again. And yeah, I just started an Instagram account and writing about food in Qatar. And then people just started approaching me and saying, do you want to write for us? And I said, sure, I'll do that. And then it's really snowballed from there. Mm-hmm. So, and what I've found is that now I'm talking about other subjects that I'm really passionate about. So it started off as food and culture, mm-hmm. and people, because I'm very interested in culture and people, but it's also naturally progressed into other things like mental health, the environment, sustainability. So yeah, there's lots of things that interest me. And in Qatar, I really want to create a platform for dialogue, because it's not like America. The media, the media is very different in Qatar, and there's a different attitude. So, it's very much insular in a way. People are very private. You know, their business is their business.
Mhm.
It's not a free for all. So, you know, I'm trying to use my social media now as a platform and to raise issues such as we're talking about today, because these kinds of issues are not really talked about in Qatar, but it's starting to, which is great. People are starting to talk about it more. They're not as shy as they used to be.
I see that you incorporate elements of your private life too, a little bit, you know, you insert. And so how do you reach that balance, you know, in the sense of like, how do you choose what to share, you know, when to share? I know it's like easier to, you know, I see that you talk about entrepreneurship, and it seems like you're very passionate about, you know, entrepreneurs and especially like women and starting a business, and then food, of course, and environment. But then there's like sprinkles of personal life, you know, like being on a motorbike or traveling, going like walking through and sharing like your brother-in-law, for instance. It's like little specks of personal. How do you choose that?
I've always I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing on social media or TV presenting, because I'm actually really private. So I don't kind of, you know, get why I'm doing all this. I think it's just a natural form of expression because I have so many interests. And I always decided that, you know, my social media, I didn't want the spotlight on me in a way, and I didn't want to expose my private life. First of all, because I don't think people would be interested, because I don't have a really
boring. You're not boring.
Oh, I don't have a glamorous life. Like I don't, I really don't, I have struggles just like everyone else. I look, a hot mess when I wake up, and when I go to bed, I've got two boys, who are very active, and I just guess I didn't really think anyone would be that interested in it. And so that's why I've always really touched upon other subjects that I thought people would like to discuss. But now, I'm starting to kind of talk more about, my kids and what I do and where I live, because I think I want to be relatable.
Right.
I want to be relatable and show people that, I have a life beyond social media.
Yeah, and I think it's a natural curiosity when people are, looking at someone's page. They have this tabloid, and it's like, oh, they're just like, the celebrities are just like normal people. They shop, they grocery shop, and they pack up their kids just like you do. And I think people, eat that up, that it's like, oh, you're off on these like exotic adventures, and you have access to these like celebrities, and this is really cool what's behind the scenes. But then there's a real person with a real life, and that that there are, life might be mundane, that I'm like getting the kids ready to go to school. It's nothing glamorous, but
Absolutely.
It's relatable, right?
Also, I think I've got to the age there where I feel like I've got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
You get to the age where you just think, you know what? If people like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. I'm not going to.
Scrolling, right?
Yeah.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah, keep on scrolling. It's very liberating, actually. I find it liberating. 5 years ago, though, I was a different story. But now I'm like, you know what? I want to be authentic as possible and show my real life. And I think there's a natural, and it's super interesting because a lot of big name celebrities, they just show real photos. They don't have these photo shoots all the time because they've got nothing to prove. I'm not saying that I'm in that category at all, but I just think you get to an age where I just feel like I've got nothing to prove anymore. If people like my content, they like it. If they don't, and hopefully my work speaks for itself.
So I guess you reach the age where there's less filter, right? Like you can express yourself.
I think I need more filters at this point. No, I love filters. Keep on using them.
It's like, well, my speech is unfiltered. I've become more like less and less filtered as I get older, because it's just like, you know what? This is me, okay? If you don't like me, you don't have to be around me. It's fine. And I'm not going to take it personal. Like, we can agree to disagree and just keep on moving, right? Like filters for my face, love it.
Yeah, me too. I am vain. I am vain.
I'm very vain. Are you kidding
We
me?
all are, right? This is a thing. I think we all are. Everyone is. Even people say, "Oh, I'm not vain," and then they take a photo and say, "No, I don't like that one. Can you please edit out the wrinkles?" I mean, I think beauty is, and this concept of beauty and wanting to look our best,
Right.
is also very much a self-expression.
I agree.
What we want to look like, who we are, and we all want to look our best.
Of course, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think there's there's a comfort level, right, that you have that's like, okay, this is what I'm going to be wearing. This is what I'm going to look like. And I don't have to be done to the nines, and it could be, I'm going to have like natural skin. And it's just really that I'm comfortable in my skin. That's what I appreciate in aging. I'm comfortable in my skin, knowing, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I'm gonna wear, this is not what I'm gonna wear. I guess I just wish that I was exposed to more. Because like I said, you don't stop being curious and you continue your journey. I think that's for me, that's my mantra.
And I agree with you, I'm the same. I want to be curious for the rest of my life.
I mean, I guess that's why you're always on adventures and traveling, right? I mean, you get to like learn new things about people and they're breaking stereotypes and things that you might not have known just by looking on the internet, but actually being there and experiencing. And that's one of the things when I was looking at your Instagram, I was like, wow, she's been to a lot of places. This is awesome. This is great. And then not doing just what the tourists are doing, but what the locals are doing. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I love it. I love connecting with people. And I've always had that passion since I was a kid. I'm really fascinated by culture. And this is why I started writing about food in Qatar, because I'm very interested in how food is an expression of culture and people too. And, I've been fortunate enough to travel the world and live in some really cool places. So, I think you've got to be curious in life. It's so much out there, which fascinates me even now. I'm so fascinated in everything around me. And with social media, it's like a candy store. It's like, wow, look at this.
Wow, all this stuff that's out there. It's so cool. It's like my eyes are like this.
Totally. And remember in our day, we had a library. All the millennials now are going, what's a library?
What's a library? What do you mean? What's a book?
Yeah. What's
a magazine? It's just,
My kids say that. Yeah, my kids say exactly that. Where we're staying at the moment, my husband's hometown, and there's a little library, and I was like, oh, let's go to the library for the afternoon.
You're like, why?
They're like, Mom, I'm going to do a TikTok video.
So you're in the UK. What's up on the horizon for you? What's next?
Okay, so I've got some really interesting things coming up. So I'm writing for Harper's Bazaar, which I absolutely love. And we're doing a lot about culture actually in Qatar and what's going on. And Qatar is an incredible country. We've got the World Cup coming around the corner. There's this huge creative kind of movement that's exploding now with fashion designers, entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and artists. So there's a really vibrant community going on. So I'm writing for them and got some very interesting things coming up. I'm also doing a TV series. I've already finished the first series. I'm coming up with a second one. It's all about Qatar, World Cup, talking to lots of different people. And there's a few other things that are coming up that are super interesting, which one is a global campaign regarding sustainability, because I'm very passionate about sustainability and really trying to create awareness about it, especially in Qatar. So yeah, there's a few things coming up, which I'm really excited about. But there's lots of things going on coming up in Qatar, which is super exciting. And of course, we've got the World Cup next year, which
is that next year?
Yes, it's 2022. It's coming around the corner and
flies, especially with COVID. It's just flying. I guess it's either slow or flies. It's like I can't believe I missed 2020. You know?
Yeah, well, tell me about it. I don't know what year it is either. I mean, it's really, this pandemic has really changed everything for us. But
yes.
You know, I'm really hoping to get to the US at some point.
Yes, please.
Would love to come over to California.
Yes, please.
And you know, got some travel plans hopefully coming up. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, you know, Kim, this was such a pleasure having you on Naya Unfiltered. You know, it was fun. It like kind of tapped memories for me that I hadn't thought about in a long time. And I love the conversation about, you know, just the evolution of beauty and what that entails. But it entails not only just makeup and surface, but also like inner confidence, mental health, you know, like their body shape, your hair. So I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Thank you so much. I really, you know, and what you're doing with this, the app is fantastic. It really is, you know, supporting women and also men, you know, everyone in the community, which I absolutely love. And I can see you're such a strong, you know, great role model for this app too, as the founder, one of the co-founders. Great to see, and I wish you all the best of luck with this. I really love it.
Oh, thank you.